Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. We are totally excited for this last presentation.
Not yet, Samuel.
Oh, not yet. Yeah, I can see that. 20 seconds. I counted
Live.
20 seconds. Okay. Hi. I'm gonna wait for more people to start coming. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. We are really delighted to be in this last presentation of the day because it's one of the most important presentations. It's one of the most important moments, which is a moment to share experiences with students. I'm gonna ask you to be patient and then we're gonna start in 1 minute. So in the meantime, I would like to introduce Afeisha Beckels, and Miguel, both of them advisors from EducationUSA, Afeisha from Trinidad, Tobago, and Miguel from Chile. But we also have very important guests here. We have Christian Harper, Lucas, and Leda. All of them are guests that are going to share their experiences with you today about what it is to study in the United States of America. So thank you so much for being here. So just to remind you, all the content of these presentations and in general, the content of the fair is going to be in the platform for 1 month, 30 days for you to go back if you didn't attend one session or if you want to sort of see a session again. This has been a really successful university fair. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Miguel and Afeisha, who are going to be conducting the panel today with our excellent and most welcome guests. The floor is yours.
Hello, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And welcome everybody for this last webinar activity that we have here at the 2021 Education USA Virtual Fair. It was mentioned, my name is Miguel Huerta. I'm the country coordinator for Education USA here in Chile. And this panel that we have is a panel that is named the International Student Experience in the US. And it's going to be a conversation with the purpose of helping you, the prospective students, to learn about being an international student in a US institution. We are joined by three current students who are going to share their experience in applying to the US, how they prepare for college, and how they are living their experience on a US campus, the cultural shock, and how they have adjusted to study in the US. And now I'm joined by my colleague Afeisha from Trinidad and Tobago. And hello, Afeisha, how are you?
Hello, Miguel, and thank you. I'm doing well. It's my absolute pleasure to be here. I am the Education USA advisor in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. And this presentation is an exciting one because you get to hear from the students themselves. So in the interest of time, I'll jump right in and I'll go ahead and introduce our student panelists. So firstly, we have Christian Harper. Christian is a junior at St. Francis College in Brooklyn Heights, New York. He is a math major. Christian's dream is to become a data scientist, and he is working towards that. Within his school, he is part of the Caribbean Students Association, Alpha Lambda Delta National Honor Society, and Amnesty International. He is also one of the International Student Ambassadors and is currently interning with the Office of Institutional Effectiveness and Accreditation as a data intern on campus, and his current binge show right now is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So thank you for being here, Christian. Also on our panel is Leda Blares. I'm hoping I'm getting that correctly, yeah. But please feel free to correct me. So Leda is a sophomore in Yale University from Ciudad del Este, Paraguay. She's currently pursuing a double major in psychology and history. Her interests range from developmental and social psychology to cultural anthropology, history, and the influence of Middle East in Latin America. During her free time, Leda enjoys listening to music and discovering new artists, going for walks in nature, practicing new languages, and learning about different cultures. So Leda, thank you for being here today. And finally, we have Lucas Lillis. who is a second-year Brazilian student at the University of Chicago. Born and raised in Rio de Janeiro as a low-income student and son of a taxi driver, Lucas participated in Education USA's Opportunity Funds program in 2019, and with their help secured 2 full-ride scholarships at the University of Chicago and the University of Pennsylvania. Studying economics and political science, Lucas has had internship positions in finance and sustainable investing, fields he intends to work with in the future. Thank you, Lucas, for joining us today. All right, so I'll hand you over to Miguel, who will get us started with some questions.
Yeah, well, I have a very simple question for you, and thank you guys for joining us. The question is, why did you guys decide to study in the US? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. For me, it was the opportunity to have more opportunity, I guess. In New York, especially, there's a lot of opportunities that you don't have in Trinidad, for example. So, you know, when I compared it, I really thought that that I would have more opportunities, and it's true, you know. So
I think for me, similar to Christian, I was especially attracted to the flexibility, the academic flexibility, because I wasn't completely sure of what I wanted to major in. I had like a various interests, and I really like the liberal arts education. So the possibility of just discovering different fields, like completely different fields, it was really attractive to me. So that's why I decided to study abroad, the US.
I guess that my answer is also kind of similar. I also had like various interests, and also the opportunities I'm able to have once I graduate from a top American university are very different and than those I would have staying in Brazil and studying in Brazil. So not only I would be able to explore more fields of knowledge, as I would also be able to expand my horizons when it comes to opportunities.
Afeisha?
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, students, for sharing that. And moving on to our next question, and I think I'd like each of you to touch on this as well. What do you think was the most important factor that made your application stand out during the admissions process? So I'll start again with Christian.
That's a good question. I think everyone has their specialties, what they're interested in, what they're good at. Well, for me, it was my academics. I wasn't too gifted in any sports area, so I wasn't able to get a sports scholarship. So I got an academic scholarship in biology, and I just think it was the academics, really.
Excellent. Okay, thank you, Christian. And how about you, Leda?
Yeah, I certainly think that it's very simple to just answer the question with this, but like it's a complicated process. But I think one of the things that stood out the most for me was like the essays. I feel like the essays are where you actually get to like show your voice and like make yourself stand out from the rest of the applicants. So I think yeah, the essays were definitely, I think, one of the most important part for me.
Great. And how about you, Lucas?
I'd say the same, but like more specifically, especially going to Chicago, because Chicago is known for like its insane essay prompts. I feel like when you're writing an essay, I don't know, just it's not only about like thinking outside the box, but just like try to go a little crazy, because I remember like writing my essays I would send to Chicago and thinking, am I maybe being too childish or something? And in the end, it worked. Like writing 2 pages about the X-Men worked. So, it's, I guess that like you shouldn't be afraid to take risks. I guess that's the main thing.
And on the same token, I want to ask you a little bit about extracurriculars. I mean, maybe in some countries, I mean, kids don't pay too much attention to the extracurriculars, and in the US, those are very important because they show leadership, they show excellence, they show compromise. What do you think about your extracurriculars? I mean, I know that Chris mentioned that he didn't have that many extra, more academic, but what do you think about is so important for the extracurriculars? I mean, and what would you suggest for the kids that are watching this video and wants to apply to the US? Anybody?
I can start. Yeah, I think the extracurriculars are like very important. When I was like in high school, I really was not thinking of them like as extracurriculars. I was just very involved in education since I was, I don't know, like middle school. Yeah, I was a tutor for low-income children in my community. I also created my own tutoring program, and I've always been doing that, and I'm very interested in education. So I think, yeah, an advice for kids that are applying now with your like crafting your sort of narrative and having activities that support that sort of narrative that you are showing to the admissions officers.
I would say the same. I believe. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'd say the same. Like mostly, I study economics and political science, and for high school, I did a lot of like MUN conferences. But also, I've always enjoyed education as the social issue. So I've taken part in mentorship programs and etc. And so I just feel like, do what you're actually interested in, because not only I believe that you always perform better and be more engaged, as also, it's you have a nicer experience overall. I guess that's what is the main take about it.
I think also that that sports as an extracurricular is definitely helpful, but it's maybe people around my age, at least when I was applying, weren't taking like volunteerism and community work as seriously, maybe because of the lack of competition. But taking those things seriously really shows depth to your craft, especially when you're applying to any college or any university. So I think, yeah.
Okay, guys, thanks. Those are all really good points, excellent points. Now, I see that we've received a question in the Q&A from Jasmine, and she is asking about your experience studying in a country that's not your hometown. What was the most difficult thing about studying in a country or city that's not your hometown? So who would like to take that one first?
I'll go first. Well, I think the community here at St. Francis really helped me, because it's a whole new town. It's a whole new set of cultural norms that you have to get accustomed to, and you don't really think that affects your ability to study, your ability to focus sometimes in class, but it does, at least for me. So being around like-minded people was definitely something that was important to me when I was studying, especially during COVID, because it's a serious situation. And being able to reach out to your friends and having those study groups, via Zoom, via if you social distance in the same area, I think that really helped me, study more efficiently.
Great. Anyone else?
I feel like, well, this was my first year. I got here in Chicago during winter, and I left Rio during summer. So I guess like weather was quite something, but I guess that the main thing, which is kind of silly, but the main thing was food. Like, I don't know, American food, very different than Brazilian food. So that's something that you need to, prepare yourself, because obviously it also like plays a huge I guess, like psychological factor, just it helps you get comfortable in the environment you're in. But as Christian said, being around like-minded people. So I believe that students from Brazil that were already on campus were very welcoming, and they helped us a lot to, get accustomed to this new lifestyle and this new campus. So I believe that finding people with whom you share culture or interest in general, that's always helpful.
Yeah. Leila?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Lucas. I think the Latino community for me at Yale, even though there were no Paraguayans when I was there, like during my first year, and now the half of my second year too. Yeah, the Latino community was definitely very supportive, and it really helped me to just sort of settle in. But yeah, I thankfully found a very welcoming community, so it wasn't. I thought it would be like a very big cultural shock, like coming from Latin America going to, that they seem to be like colder, but I don't know. I did not feel that. Like I felt very supported, and yeah, and I think that also the winter. Yeah, we don't have winters in Paraguay. That was hard, but yeah, we got through it.
I have I'm reading here the Q&A, and I have a question from Benjamin Arias from Chile. And the question is it too difficult to get financial aid from a university, being an international student? Well, you guys are opportunities, some of you, and you're aiming for what is called a full ride, right? 100% support. So is it too difficult?
I can answer that question partially. I'm not an opportunity fund student, but I did apply to more than 15 schools, and the way I was looking for them was like solely based on if they were offering financial aid to international students, because it's different. Like for American students, like they do all offer, like most of them for American students, but for internationals, I think when like people are looking for schools to apply to, that's definitely something they should keep in mind if the school is offering financial aid to international students. And to these schools that accepted me, they all gave me more than 95% of financial aid covered. So yeah, it's a lot of work. Applying to more than 15 schools is a lot of work, but yeah, it was definitely worth it. And I am with a Fullride at Yale, so yeah.
What about the Chris and Lucas?
I believe that, well, I guess when I was applying, I've heard that in EducationUSA, applying as an international student is harder. As an international student that wants a scholarship is even harder, and international student that wants a full ride is like even harder. But I believe that it's definitely possible. I feel like at least in Brazil, all Brazilians that study abroad in top schools and have like full scholarships know each other. So there are a ton of us, and I believe that's the same for like other Latin American countries and other countries in general, I believe. So I guess that if you prepare and if you plan well, and you actually get planned in order to be able to meet your deadlines, I believe that it's definitely possible.
What about you, Chris? Was it too difficult?
When I applied to St. Francis College, the way the financial aid works is that upon acceptance, you get a financial aid package that is based some on your GPA, but you also get guaranteed scholarships based on just the fact that you're an international student, and also there are other scholarship opportunities that are available before you even begin, and also while you're in school. And there are also grant opportunities because of the fact that COVID was really hard for a lot of people financially. With respect to full ride scholarships, I have to agree with everyone. It's a lot more difficult. We do offer full ride scholarships, but only to 4 students, and you have to write an essay. So it's like an essay competition, and that's really the only way to get a Fullride scholarship at St. Francis.
Okay, thanks for that, Christian. Now, we received a question from Claudia, who asked, how difficult was it, or how did you find housing? Would you all be able to talk a bit about that process? Can we start with you, Leda?
Yeah, sure. Housing, well, my scholarship covers room and board. So I thankfully did not have to worry about that. But I know, like, I have a lot of friends that live off campus, and I think that's fairly, like, once you're there, I don't know if you get like a scholarship that covers room and board, that's fine. But like some people do choose to leave off campus afterwards, and it's fairly easy to find places, at least in New Haven, like for students, like where Yale is. But yeah, I did not have to worry about that.
Chris, New York. Wow.
Well, in New York, so it's a lot more difficult to find off-campus residents on your own, but we do help you find areas and find apartments when you apply if you choose to be off campus. We do have room and board that's like 5 minutes out from our campus, has a fantastic view. But besides that, any scholarships that you receive do come off. It reduces your total amount, you know, with respect to tuition and room and board.
I believe my situation is somewhat similar to Lida's. Actually, room and board is included in the financial package, but after 2 years on campus, you're allowed to required years, like in dorms, you're allowed to live off campus, but your financial aid actually is converted to, you know, this financial help in order to stay, to pay rent, etc. So I thankfully as well, that was not an issue for me.
Okay, one of the things that are very beneficial about U.S. education is the flexibility and this idea that you can be an undecided and you can apply to the U.S. And I have a question here from what it says an anonymous spectator, but the question is, how do you know what you want to study? Do you guys know what you want to study, or you just find it in the first or second year?
I think, you know, I thought I knew what I wanted to study when I began. I was a biology major, the pre-med track, and I changed to math because I think that all colleges really should give you that opportunity to explore different majors, and I think most do. You can't change your major up to your second semester in your second year, because you won't be able to graduate otherwise. But yeah, you don't have to know what you want to do, but it's good if you do.
What about you, Leda? You have a double major.
Yeah, well, at the beginning, I also wanted to be a biology major, and yeah, thankfully, Yale, I think it's fairly similar in other schools too. You're required to take certain courses in like different areas, so it forces you to explore. Like you can choose from any of the courses within a certain area, but yeah, it does force you to go out of your sort of comfort zone. So during my first year, I like completed all, like not all, but most of the requirements for bio. But then like I started fulfilling this sort of breadth requirements, and yeah, I took a history class. I took introduction to psychology, and I really loved it. And yeah, like you really don't have to know. I mean, and if you do, it's definitely okay if you change it, because like I guess that's why you're in the US, right? To study, to explore your options, to explore yourself, like to actually become to know you better. So yeah, it's exploring, not being afraid of trying something new. It's, I think, one of the the best opportunities that you can have there.
Lucas.
Thank God I never wanted to be a biology major. That was like out of question. Or never was a big fan of bio, but I've always been interested in social sciences in general, like even through high school. I guess that helped a lot. And I mean, but I'm also like, I just finished my first year. I might, who knows what the future holds, I might switch majors. But for now, I do believe that I agree with them with all of that was said. At UChicago, you also need to like experience different fields of knowledge. So it's very common for people to switch majors. But I feel like if you can just, at the application process, if you have an actual interest in the field you're applying to study, and well, that's enough, you know, because you will be able to talk about it and talk about why you want to study that, and et cetera, et cetera. And it's okay if you switch afterwards, because, you know, as Mr. Huerta said, flexibility in US education is just a huge thing. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Well, another benefit to studying in the US is the opportunity for on-campus work. So one of our viewers has asked, do any of you work on your campus? So could you, if yes, tell us a little bit about that experience and how it works? Anyone?
Yeah, I'm currently in my second office on campus. I started out in the international office when I first got accepted, and now I'm in academic affairs with accreditation and everything. When it comes to getting the opportunities, I think that, as in Francis, the system is really set up so that you can get a job anywhere, really, on campus. So we have a host of different departments that do need help, and you could choose from anyone, really. And you know, when you get more accustomed with the faculty, you could start doing on-campus work that that is in your field of interest, really, which is what I'm doing. So I'd say definitely, if you have the opportunity to, definitely work on campus.
What about Lucas and Leda? Do you guys get any chance to work in campus?
Yes, very recently, actually, like 2 months ago, I started this research assistant position at the Department of Political Science. I believe it's very very useful, because I guess that it's a nice experience to work on campus, even if it's remote, because, you know, you get to know how the university works somewhat, and also because, for what I've heard, it might be wrong, but like you need to have like an on-campus job as a first year to get a social security number, which is something very important as an international student. So totally recommend. But yeah, I have this position for two months, and I guess that I would recommend if it's possible, because I feel like there are a lot of benefits that comes with it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Lucas. Yes, it is needed for an SSN, to my knowledge. And yeah, I actually have 2 jobs on campus. On campus is like remote right now, but yeah, I am working as a research assistant for the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence and like psychology, like social psychology, emotions, and all sort of those things. I also work for the Council for Latin American Studies, and I'm sort of an assistant to programming. So yeah, I really love both of my jobs, and it's really, I agree. It's just it gives you a lot of experience of like working with other people. It's sort of a break from the academics, the very heavy academic life, and just, yeah, seeing how the actual work life works. I really would recommend.
And we're almost at the end of our webinar, but I want to ask you guys, maybe you can tell us a little bit of your suggestions or recommendations for those students that are considering studying in the US. What did you do when you apply that you will suggest for people doing, or what you say don't do this. I mean, this is something that I did and you know, it wasn't worth it. What experience can you share with us?
I'll try to go first. So first, when I applied, the application process thankfully was free and online, so it was quick, and someone reached out to me, and I would say definitely communicate all your questions. Definitely do that, because you would have a question and you might think, oh, maybe like they're gonna address it, or maybe it's not a well-founded question, but these are maybe something that the recruitment missed, or something that, you know, something that just wasn't like, that is really like, it matters, you know. And so asking your questions also gives you and the recruiter a peace of mind, and the transition from wherever you are to New York or Chicago or to Yale University, it's going to be a lot smoother.
Wow, that's good. Any other comment that you want to share, experience?
Yeah, I would say the biggest like advice I have is to start early. I started in my senior year, and that was a mistake because it was very stressful. And also, I don't think it is worth it to apply to more than 15 schools. It was a lot of work. It was very, very stressful. I mean, it's not like not worth it. I definitely gained a lot of experience and everything, but it was very stressful. Yeah, I guess starting early what really helped me was being actually disciplined and diligent. I had my own like study schedule, and I did not miss any single day. And I was just very, very diligent. It requires a lot of work and just a lot of discipline. But it's definitely possible if you have both. It's possible.
All right. Lucas.
I agree. And I guess I like two things that I wish I had done differently was just like be sure to just get enough feedback, not more than you need, especially like when it comes to essays. When you start listening to like a lot of people, just like you just go insane, or like almost. So you know, it's very important to focus. Otherwise, you won't be able to focus on like anything, or feel good about the result of the essays or application process in general, I'd say. But also, yeah, so that's the first thing. The second thing is like trust yourself. That was something that I missed a lot when I was applying. Like especially when it comes to like to grades. My advisor. I was in the opportunity funds program, and my advisor, who's just like incredible and has a lot of experience, said that my grades were just fine, but for some reason I could just not internalize that idea, and I was just like would keep thinking that it wasn't, and that was very stressful. So I feel like just make sure, you know, believe in yourself and what you've done so far, and you know, trust the people that are actually helping you, because you make the whole process much easier to, you know, so the way you perceive yourself through it would be very helpful. But I believe that that's it. And good luck to anyone applying.
Yeah.
Thank you. Those are really excellent tips for students who might be preparing to get into this process of studying in the US. So we do have just a few more minutes left. So what I would like for you all to also share is maybe some tips on how are you balancing your academic life right now and just the life of being a student in the US? Any tips for that, for navigating that process? And anyone could feel free to start.
Yeah, I feel like it's very needed to just appreciate, like take the time to appreciate where you are, like where you've come. And because there's so many things, like the day is not long enough for everything that there is to do. So I think just taking it easy, like you've already arrived where you want to be. Like not on this, that's the end goal, but just appreciating all the opportunities that there are, but don't drive yourself crazy, but trying to try everything, because that's just not possible because there's so many things to do. And just appreciate like the friends you've made, and yeah, just let the opportunity sink in, and like take it the full advantage, but don't drive yourself crazy trying to do everything.
My tip would be to schedule stuff. You need to schedule stuff. You need to schedule time off. You need to schedule time to study, and the quicker you get better at it, the better you really experience everything in the city that you're in. You know, people spend a lot of time on TikTok, a lot of time on Instagram, and like it's just time really wasted away, really wasted away. And you know, you're there from 6 to 8, and you're like, I'll do another 2 hours there, and, you know, but you could really be spending that time, you know, going out and experiencing, you know, New York, like so many things you could do. And if you try to schedule it wrongly, it'll be hard, at least for me. I've realized that it's hard for me to, if I schedule wrongly, for me to study, for me to really find time to do what's important when it comes to mental health, when it comes to emotional, you know, intelligence, stuff like that. You need to schedule time to do these things, or else it's just going to be like a bit of chaos, really.
Yeah, I agree with everything that was said, but also I feel like when you get here, it's also really overwhelming in terms of opportunities. You know, you go to like student fairs and you're like, okay, I'm going to take up like 5 different sports, and that's not happening. At least like it shouldn't be happening. So, you know, I get it because I'm going through that right now, because, you know, classes, everything's going back to be in person. So I'm just still deciding what I'm going to do when it comes to extracurricular, because I wish I had more time, but, you know, we only have 24 hours a day. So just taking your time to, you know, set your priorities when it comes to like absolutely everything, you know, classes or like any other things, extracurricular. So I guess that, yeah, that also goes with scheduling everything, that helps. So I believe that that's it, you know, setting your priorities, that's always helpful.
What about friendship? I mean, I think one of the things that people are worried about is about the culture shock. Yeah. Do you guys make a lot of friends? Is it difficult to make friends? What's your experience?
My experience on campus, we have what's called the Caribbean Student Association. We have a lot of those niche associations where everyone from every background could find someone on campus who shares similar cultures, who shares similar practices, and they could feel at home, you know. And that's really important, especially in a place like New York, where a lot of information is being thrown at you from everywhere, from 360. And sometimes you lose your footing, and having those friends, those good friends, to really, like, you know, remind you of, you know, the type of person that you are is really important. Really, really important.
I feel like I'm kind of biased because my first year was like during COVID, during winter mostly. So honestly, it was kind of hard to find friends. But also, I feel like, yeah, the cultural shock. I don't know, having a friend, the relationship you would call a friendship in Brazil is not the same in the US. And I guess that works for most countries. So that's something you have to, you know, be aware of. But also, you know, I feel like it takes time. You know, it took me like some solid months to actually get to know people and say, okay, those are my friends. I can like schedule things to do with them. But again, COVID and winter, so who knows? And as Christian said, like, yeah, most of my friends are also, I mean, a good part of my friends are also Brazilian, because I feel like when you share the same background, it's just easier. But also try to have friends from different backgrounds, different nationalities. That's always very helpful. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I have shared before. I think the Latino community was very important for me. They're very supportive, and just having like similar backgrounds, sort of, it was really helpful for the culture shock. But yeah, I think going to school in the US, like any school, is like very diverse. You're gonna find people. You're gonna find your place. Like I would advise people not to worry about that. Yeah, it's just taking it slow. It does take time, of course, like anything. If you want like actual real friendships, of course, it does take time and effort. But yeah, it's like just everything else. Just enjoy the ride, I would say. And yeah, don't worry, you will find friends, definitely.
Excellent. So I think we've just reached the end of our time here. It passed really quickly. I didn't even realize there were so many questions we didn't have the opportunity to get to. But I think our students, you'll have really shared some really helpful, really insightful information with the audience in terms of understanding the experience of being a student in the US. So thank you all for your time today, and to our audience, thank you for sticking with us for the past 40 minutes or so. Miguel, would you like to say anything to close?
I just want to give them thanks for being with us, and the best of luck in starting this first semester of your year, and I hope you enjoy and have a great experience.